All right, welcome back to the show. Wolf and Luke. Lorenzo Alexander is here for the lowdown heading into week 1 of the NFL season. So I don't know if you remember this, but you were here last week.
Yep.
And we had a short show last week, actually, because of the Diamondbacks. And Wolf was complaining that he had to go to a meeting after the show.
I wasn't complaining. I was stating a fact.
Actually, I think you were trying to get out of it. Is what you were trying to do. So we go to the meeting, and we have the meeting.
Yep.
And at the end of the meeting, like, okay, now we're going to give away whatever it was at a raffle. And everybody had like a ticket. And Wolf stands up. He's like, I believe that's mine. Gets up there, wins a prize, and we didn't see him for 5 days.
It was so bizarre right there. The first raffle, the first ticket pulled. And it was the number I was holding in my hand. Unbelievable.
They got you in now, locked in now. You be at every meeting.
Yeah, Wolf's asking for more meetings.
Right, yeah.
He's like, why don't we have another meeting today? Said Wolf. Never.
Stop it.
Also, there were no questions. You had to be happy with that.
There was no questions whatsoever. Did you notice, though, they didn't open it up to questions?
That's true. I think they were on the same page you were, actually.
You know, there's always going to be that one guy, right?
Yeah. And it was a long weekend last weekend, too, right? It was Labor Day weekend, so people trying to get up out of there.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Wolf was standing up to leave, and then he's like, hey, I won, and he turned around. All right, Lorenzo Alexander is here. Let's talk about this Cardinals-Bills game. I would say you're pretty uniquely qualified to talk about this one since you played for both teams. So what are you expecting on Sunday?
I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think there's a lot of unknowns, and I want to just say this. It has officially happened, with the Bills. As far as the amount of guys I've played with, I'm looking at their roster, and I've been out 5. This might be the 5th season. I'm not sure. 2019, whatever that is, means today. But you start looking at them like, man, I didn't play with him. I don't know him. I don't know him. Typically, it happens a little quicker, right? They got Ed Oliver and Josh Allen still that I was there with, and a few other guys, Reed Ferguson, who's the long snapper. But it's just crazy how the roster has turned over, and even in this past season, when we think about staples in Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, right? They came in, I think, with Sean McDermott's first year, and those guys alone, and, people may mention me or Kyle Williams as well in that nucleus that kind of really helped, but those guys, as far as going to, AFC championships and always being contenders, the leadership style on that defensive side, the amount of communication those guys did to get guys on the same page, the corners, linebackers coming to the sideline to speak, losing those two guys, I don't think can be under or talked enough about enough, because those guys, Sean trusted them with everything. Come in, hey, let's run this. Okay, let's do it. And so I think there's going to be a lot of uncertainty on that back end. Obviously, you got DeMar Hamlin is going to be playing back there rap as well, which are good players, but they're not those two guys as far as how to disguise, confuse offenses, maybe even make Kyler hold on to the ball, allow this front to get to Kyler a little bit. So I'm probably less confident because I'm very unfamiliar with a lot of the players, and especially how the defense specifically is going to look with those two guys gone. Obviously, Matt Milano's hurt now, and they still have some good players. Terrell Bernard, I think, is really good, but just that back end, the communication piece, people don't understand what Budda Baker does for this team. How much communication is going on pre-snap? Hey, watch this. Hey, alert, X nasty. Hey, blah, 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 blah. All this stuff that allows other guys to really play fast, and so I think the Cardinals and Kyler, I think they really have an opportunity to seize the moment with a young team in a lot of ways, or an unexperienced team as far as being collectively together to take advantage of early in this game, especially running the ball, play action stuff, maybe some shots down the field, because you have some young guys in some key areas that they may be able to, I don't want to say trick, but take advantage of just because of their lack of game experience, unlike you saw with Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer.
Yeah, it's a different defense, especially their secondary. There's no doubt. But Matt Milano, you mentioned Matt Milano right now. Can you speak on what kind of loss that is for this team specifically?
Very similar. I mean, he got there, I think, the year before. He's been there since 2016. And his development, he was a safety in college, Boston College, and has developed into a linebacker that has the duality, or really...
He's weak side, inside, right?
Weak side, inside backer, and has the ability to play the run at a high level, drops in coverage, plays zones, blitzes really well. And I think the most important factor that, guys like the Honey Badger, Pat P, guys, that we would be familiar here in the Valley, has that it factor where it just finds him some way.
Troy Polamalu.
Yeah, Troy Polamalu just pinned, like, how do they do that? Can I get one or two of those plays? Like, why are you in that position and why they're not blocking you and you're getting this big play? You know, it's just crazy.
Yep.
Did you put the magic dust on so they don't see you out there? Tell me, right? So he is an elite player, all-pro player. He got paid justifully. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy. I think last year he broke his leg in London. This year it's the pec, and so it's just starting to compound a little bit. But he's going to be another guy that they trust that can communicate, plays at a high end, and makes everybody else have to raise their game up. So, again, going to have a young guy in that spot. I think it's Dorian. He was a rookie last year, very extremely athletic, but you could tell he was thinking. He was all over the place. So that would be a guy, if I'm looking at it from the Cardinals' perspective, I'm about to try to manipulate you and see if I can get you not to do what the defense is asking you to do.
Yeah, see, this is interesting because these guys could all end up being great players, but week one of this season, as they're all trying to play together, like you said, the Cardinals could maybe sneak in there and take advantage of that. This is Jonathan Gannon yesterday talking about a Sean McDermott coach team.
They're very fundamentally sound. They play extremely hard, and they're smart. So he does a really good job with that team. He's done since he's been there. You look when he was a defensive coordinator, they were always good when he was a defensive coordinator. And since he's been there, they're always in the hunt, man. You know what I mean? So they're a very well-coached team, and he does a good job with them. They play hard. They're very technique sound. They don't beat themselves. They play with great motor. It's a well-coached team. It jumps out on a tape.
Yeah, see, that's the downside to what we're saying. They're still being coached by Sean McDermott.
Yeah. I mean, has anybody ever heard of a small school in Virginia called William & Mary?
Yeah.
Do we know who went there? We know two coaches went there that's in the league right now, coaching at a high end that he just described. This team that could be put on either one of these head coaches' teams. You know the other coach. Obviously, Sean McDermott is one.
I was going to say, it would be weird if Sean McDermott wasn't one of the answers.
He's one.
And the other?
Mike T. Tomlin,
really?
Yes, and they played together. So they have a relationship, right? And so if you look at their football teams, the dynamic, the chemistry, the makeup, and how they coach and how they relate with their players, very similar. Obviously, each do it to their personality, but they're going to play hard. They're going to be fundamentally sound, right? They're going to always be around and in it and have an opportunity to be in the playoffs and win games. Right, obviously Mike T has done it on another level. Sean has had some losing seasons, but it's very similar. That's because they came up together. I know they have a good relationship, and they have that same kind of old school vibe about them. They've adapted, but they still have that old school vibe essence that I think you really need to be able to play this game the right way at a high level consistently, as their football teams have done. Talk
to us a little bit about Josh Allen and the dude that he is. The player that he is and what you see.
Yeah, and I had him as a rookie, sat next to me, couldn't stand him, playing Justin Bieber all the time, right? I'm like, man, what are we doing over here, man? Are you just trying to get underneath my skin? But, he relates really well. It's a guy that guys gravitate to. He's a dude, right? Everybody loves him. He's blue collar. It's not like this prima donna aspect because he will try to run through you because he is 6'5", 240, 250.
He's a football player.
So he plays the game the way it should be. He's a little throwback in that essence. Kind of a Brett Favre-ish, right, gunslinger. So I have the utmost respect. He had a lot of criticism as a young player. He made sure that in the offseasons he was going out there with Jordan Palmer and working on his mechanics and fundamentals and really grew. Obviously, having Stephon Diggs come in really helped him in his confidence and his ability to make plays. And I think, right, and we're going to get to see this, Pat Mahomes lost to Cheetah. I think Josh Allen is in that same place to where he can still perform well even if he doesn't have a clear number one because of who he is and how he studied his fundamentals. And they still got weapons, don't get me wrong, right? We got the young rookie in Coleman. They got Shakir still. And so, and then both tight ends that I think are really good guys and can get after it as well. So he's a leader.
They remind me so much. I just want to say this quickly. They remind me so much of where I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to go in terms of 12 personnel because they do have two really good tight ends that they enjoy, right? They got two guys. Dalton Kincaid is more of the move type guy.
Right, catching the ball,
And then they've got Dawson Knox, who is more of a stud tight end, a true stud tight end, to me.
Right. No, I would agree. I played with Dawson, got to watch Kincaid develop, and I would definitely agree with that assessment of who they are as a football team and what they want to do. They're trying to get back more to running the football, too, taking the pressure off of Josh.
A lot of 11, of
right?
course. A lot of 11 personnel. But when Joe Brady took over.
Yeah, we're going to run the football. And you create matchup issues when you have the flexibility and tight end like that, right? Because to your point, I can show you true 12. I can show you 21 because Knox can go back and play a little fullback, right? And then I can show you 11 because Kincaid can go out to the slot and run routes like a receiver. So
Reggie Gilliam's still there, is he not?
Yes,
Isn't
he is.
he the true fullback?
He is a true
fullback. Was he there when you were there?
Nah, he might have been on practice squad. Yeah, I did it, And I hate that. I remember who was I talking to? I remember asking Darryl Green. I said, man, I'm coaching. Todd Bowles is coaching me. You remember Todd, right? Back in Washington, this is the early 80s. D. Green played 20 years. He's like, no, not really. I don't remember who that is. And I was like, man, how you not know who Todd Bowles is?
But you play in the same secondary?
Yeah, but you play for so long and you're so many guys. So, and then the years just kind of all come together once you walk away. So I'm like, was Reggie there? I know him because I've gone back, but I don't know if I played with him. And they'll be like, yeah, he was there for 2 years with you, on practice squad
He
or
sat
something.
right next to you in the locker room.
And I'm like, oh, man, I hate that. I can't remember.
Can't you just see Zoe trying to get ready for a game and Josh Allen sits down next to him and just starts blasting Bieber?
That's what he would do.
What are you doing,
I'm like, man,
Josh?
what are you doing? But that's the fun loving about him, and I think that's why he's great because he can be in these great moments, but also be relaxed in them, and he's really learned how to kind of hone that in a little bit. And so, I'm excited for him and the Bills team to see what they're going to do with this kind of new group of guys moving forward.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.